Today's video is brought to you by Hostinger. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a sketch with me. I know you guys love these and I love doing these as well. So I'm going to be doing a little sketch with me session with you guys, and I'm also going to be answering some of your questions. Everything relating to small businesses and owning a small business, being a full-time artist, etc, etc. I know I've made some videos in the past on the channel about my advice on, owning a small business and my experience with starting a small business as an artist, but yeah, I never actually took up questions from the forums, so I'm going to be doing that today. But before we get into that, let's hear a quick word from today's sponsor that very neatly ties into the topic of this video, Hostinger. Today's video is brought to you by Hostinger. Hostinger has become the world's most affordable web hosting option, offering a simple and intuitive platform that effortlessly allows users to publish their websites regardless of the size. They also provide domains, SSL certificates, and even website design services if that isn't your forte. With Hostinger, you can easily integrate their hosting services when setting up your custom website, or even with WordPress if you're wanting to set up an e-commerce website, for example. It is the affordable and easy solution for all your hosting and website needs. This could be a portfolio for all you designers and freelancers out there, an e-commerce website for anyone thinking of starting their own online shop this year, or just even a sleek new website to advertise your work to new customers. Setting up your own website should not be a Herculean task stopping you from leveling up your business, and Hostinger is there to make it easy for you. Hostinger is not here to slow you or your business down at any step of the way. All of their servers are extremely fast, offering quick loading times and speedy editing that won't break the bank. They are also incredibly beginner-friendly, as I mentioned earlier. Their user-friendly Hostinger H-panel and WordPress optimization doesn't require any previous coding experience or web development knowledge. With the H-panel, you can just drag and drop your stuff into their intuitive panels, allowing you to edit and publish website in just minutes. And if you still have any queries, they have a 24/7 multilingual tech support team with over 20 languages there to help you whenever you need. I personally think that having a portfolio or even just a website for my art and my business was a real game changer. It's a little cohesive space where you can have all of your work showcased and all of your projects, and you can advertise any potential work/clients. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting yourself a little website if you are trying to kickstart your business today. So yeah, head on over to hostinger.com/Pypah to get an extra 7% off on top of their current annual discounts, which can give you up to 91% off. Pretty good deal, I think. So yeah, use Hostinger to kickstart your business today. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. So with all that said and done about small businesses, websites, and portfolios, let's get into the small business Q&A in today's video. Okay everyone, so today I'm going to be using my Archer and Olive sketchbook collab that I did with them. I just really love using this sketchbook for these kinds of videos because the pages are nice and big. And I'm just going to be using just a 2.0mm 2B mechanical pencil. So yeah, I've got my tea and I've got my sketchbook. I've got the lovely questions that you guys sent in this week about anything relating to being a small business or having an art business and doing art full time. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let's start off with the first question. So I kind of got a lot of questions, but I decided to just pick out like a few that sort of encapsulated most of the questions that I got. There was a lot of questions that kind of melded into each other, and I'm going to try and address those more like as topics. So this first question is, what is your breakdown money-wise? Like, how is your income from each thing you do? Getting right into the nitty-gritty here, I see. There's a lot of like different incomes coming in, just because I do a bunch of different things. But the breakdown essentially, without, exposing my entire financial background and whatever, but I'm very thankful that I gladly make quite a nice living off of YouTube. I'd say that is probably where most of my income comes from. And then I'd say that next up is probably my online shop. So, selling my artworks and basically doing all that. And then after that, probably I would put in like just commission work. So either animation work or illustration gigs and anything that kind of goes in there. I wouldn't say because I get paid very little from those last tasks, but just because they're a lot more sporadic, just because I work freelance. Whereas with YouTube, I'm sort of getting a semi-regular, paycheck every month. And with my online shop as well, of course, the payment, the amount of money I make differs every month. That's just the plight of being a freelancer. But it's a little bit more regular when with an online shop, for example, you know that you're always getting in orders, whether they may be more or less every month, you're at least getting some sort of revenue. Even if I don't get like any commission work for a month, I'll still have my YouTube and my online shop to fall back on. But yeah, that's sort of how the breakdown money-wise occurs. But if we're talking taxes here, which I know is a very boring but very necessary thing to talk about, everything kind of falls under my company, which is Pypah's Art. So in terms of that, it's not actually as complicated as you might think it is. If you have everything just under the same name and you're getting invoiced, for example, all towards the same person and the same address, essentially, it'll just kind of melds into the same company that just does different services. So I hope that made sense. This one's also very similar to the first question, which is how to manage your finances so your small business and yourself don't go broke. Again, it is a very scary idea, going freelance or, going into a creative job, because you're just afraid of obviously going broke. I think if you're just starting out, it is very important to have a plan B. So if you're just starting off as an artist and you're still not getting that much of a regular paycheck, obviously, accommodate for that and maybe have like a little part-time job, or start off doing art part-time, and then once things start picking up, obviously then quit whatever job you're doing to, pay the bills, because there's no shame in that, absolutely not. Like, we've all done it, so it's absolutely fine. It is just a nice way to, keep things running and smoothly until you can be more independent with your art business. But in terms of, keeping your finances in check with your small business, I just usually say, like, try to be as organized as possible and keeping everything in the same place. So I have like an expenses spreadsheet, if you will, for everything to do with work, and it's like on my Google Drive, it's all there, and I've had it for a few years now, and it's just a very easy way to track all my expenses. So at the end of every month, I'll add up all the money that I made from different tasks. I separate them into different categories, so the breakdown is very clear there. Yeah, it just gives me sort of a rough idea of where I'm spending a lot of money on, where I'm making the most money, seeing exactly where money's coming in and where money's going out. And if I need to make any adjustments, then in the next month I will make those adjustments. Any advice for an artist trying to build a art business / career? I did get a lot of questions in this sort of realm, like, best steps for starting out. How do you know you're ready to start out? Where do I begin? And I do have like a whole video on my channel that I did a few months ago on, starting your own small business and starting, doing art full time, and basically a very big in-depth sort of video about that. So if you are interested in hearing about all the specifics, I'll put the link somewhere here for you guys to watch. Okay, I've just zoomed in here a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Yeah, as I was saying, I'd say that the advice that I would give to people starting out is to not have very high expectations. So you don't put too much pressure on yourself, because going in with an open mind and telling yourself that it's okay that it doesn't immediately pick up, because it's not going to be the same for everyone. It's just be patient, take it a day at a time, and just don't put too much pressure on yourself, because it's just not going to help anyone or yourself, especially yourself. So make sure you do a lot of prep work and make sure you know everything you need to know before starting, because it'll not only remove a lot of the fear and anxiety of starting out, knowing that you know everything, or at least most of the things that you need to know, but it will just obviously make things go a lot smoother, and you don't get sort of blindsided by any specifics. Looking up how to file your taxes at the end of the year, and researching all the things that you are the most unsure about and scared about will obviously ease you into starting your own business. This person asks, did you have a follower benchmark before starting your shop? And also, when did you know you were ready to sell? So I'm very grateful that I actually already had a bit of a following when I started my online shop, just mainly from YouTube and doing Instagram and posting my work, because I had been, posting my work and doing YouTube for about like 4 or 5 years when I actually started my online shop. So, I did have a little bit of a following. It wasn't anything like I have now, but it was definitely not zero. But, it's not going to be like that for everyone, especially if you're just starting out. Everyone starts at zero. I knew that I was ready to start selling when I was churning out like a lot of artwork that I was really happy with, and I could envision the pieces being prints, essentially. Like if you're selling prints, obviously that's not going to be the same for everyone, but I could just sort of like envision in my head that I would be happy with seeing these printed out. I know that I wouldn't, hate seeing them printed out. I would just, it was getting to a point where I was comfortable with my artwork being seen and sold to people. So obviously the first couple things that you sell and make aren't going to be that great. Let's be incredibly honest. Like the stuff that I was selling and making when I first started out weren't great, in terms of quality and content, etc. But you have to do stuff to learn. Next question. How do you handle international shipping costs without drastically upping your art price? I actually don't price my works with the intent of covering shipping costs. That I usually just leave to checkout and, the actual shipping costs. I have this I just did research on what the prices are for shipping to different areas of the world from my location were, and then just accommodated my shipping to that on my shop, which is why I would always recommend doing packaging and posting prices separately to your art prices, because the value of your art is different from how much it's going to cost for you to send out a specific product. So just price your art as what you think you should price it, and then worry about shipping later, because it's going to be a different price for different areas of the world. Just wherever you live, make sure you're informed about what the shipping prices are for different parts of the world. And this question really perfectly leads into this question we just had, which is how do you price your products? It's a toughie because it obviously changes depending on your audience and what kind of product you're selling, obviously. I initially, when I first started out, I knew that my products weren't exactly the most incredible quality and they weren't the most perfect pieces. So I knew that I wasn't in any place to be charging a lot of money for them. You just gonna have to be like self-aware of where on the quality standards your products are, and compare them to other things on the market and other things that you've previously bought from artists that you like and support. I think it's about being self-aware and knowing that this is a okay quality, but it's not perfect. Like I wouldn't spend this and this amount for something like this. Like, take it from like personal experiences and stuff that you've bought before. So yeah, I guess that also goes into doing market research and looking at what other people are pricing their works at and seeing how your art or the quality of your products compares to that. Obviously never undervalue your work. You gotta price it at a good enough price point that you're not wasting money. So you gotta cover costs of producing those products and gotta put into account all the years that you've taken to master this sort of skill and craft that you're using to make these products. You have to factor in a lot of things into the price of your products and services, not just how much it costs to make it. I like being an artist, but I hate the promoting part. How do you do it? Yes, that is the bane of being an artist in this day and age, is that you do have to be good at, or at least be consistent with, promoting your art on social media, because it might be annoying, but at the end of the day, like, there's really no other way for people to find out about your work all around the world without using some form of social media. It's sort of a practice. I always say, like, you don't really just start doing it one day and just pick it up perfectly. Like, it is a practice. You're gonna have to, like, get used to it. I'd say definitely use the draft options of many social media platforms. They're very useful if you just have like one day of figuring out a bunch of posts that you're going to do for an upcoming, like, shop update or an upcoming product that you're doing. Immediately put it in your drafts and set an alarm on your phone for a specific day that you need to post. I have an alarm for like pretty much almost every day on my phone that goes off at the same time, and whether or not I do post that day, at least I'm getting a reminder of like, hey, if you got something to post it. So that's how I remember to post, because otherwise I would also just forget all the time. If you already have like a social media account set up, definitely look up what your peak times are for engagement and likes and blah, blah, blah. You can see that on your analytics and make a judgment call. Okay, this is the best day and time of day to post, where I will probably get a lot of interactions on my posts. So put an alarm for that time on your phone, and then you don't have to be stressing about it all day or all week. I'm very bad at it to forget for days on end. Like, even just last week when I updated my shop and relaunched it, I completely forgot to post about it on my Instagram feed. Like, I posted about it on my stories and whatnot, but I did have a drafted post for my Instagram that I still haven't posted. Completely forgot. And I feel like at this point it's a little bit too late. But yeah, definitely make use of the plan now, post later options on social media. Maybe just allocate a day or a few days in the week to like plan your posts for the next few weeks, and then it's all there for you. It only takes like a few seconds to post it. Which products do you recommend if you are just starting? I'm planning to open mine. Any tips? Again, I don't really know what you're selling in your small business, but for any small business, I honestly don't think you need much. Obviously, you need a website or an e-commerce place to be selling your work. If you're just starting out, I don't think you'll need like a label maker or like a shipping label maker yet, but it's definitely something to look into for the future. It's always a good idea to have a printer, like a really good printer, because then you can always make stuff at home, like thank you cards and thank you stickers and just any bits and bobs. So yeah, printer is always a good idea. I always recommend having like a good lighting, for photographing stuff if you're selling physical products, like a good ring light or a good softbox, and maybe a good camera or like a little good camera with a good lens for photographing stuff, again, if you're selling physical items. This question is very similar. What things do you think are the best to invest in for an art business? For this question, I always say like a really good website, a really good online shop, and a domain. I think domains are really, really, I just think they're really good because they provide a sort of insane amount of like professionalism to whatever you're selling or doing on your shop. I don't know, if you can shell out like a couple of pounds or dollars or whatever on like a domain, I would go for it. Ooh, also business cards. I think business cards are a very good thing to invest in if you're doing conventions or just literally going anywhere. Coffee shops, whatever. There are a lot of coffee shops and just little shops that will let you just have your business cards just on the counter. A lot of places let you do that. Yeah, it's just a really nice, easy way for you to promote your business outside of social media. After building your portfolio, how did you start finding clients or advertise your work? So I actually was already kind of getting work and stuff based on, my following on YouTube and etc. While I was, building up my portfolio while I was at uni. But again, I think this is where promoting yourself and your business, it comes very into play. This isn't what I actually did because at the time I didn't really know about many nice websites to find clients and work, but now there are so many. There is Creatively, which is an amazing platform just to find creative jobs and clients and stuff like that. You can get a lot of work, like commission-based work, off of Instagram and Twitter. A lot of the animation jobs that I found are on animatedjobs.com. LinkedIn, I know it's a bit formal, but LinkedIn does have a lot of good jobs on there. You can tailor them to whatever you're looking for, what kind of work you're looking for. But yeah, those are just a few that I really recommend that you should definitely check out if you're actively looking for work and you have a portfolio ready to send out. This next question is very good. How do you deal with difficult customers who want free stuff, etc., or ask rude questions? It does take a certain amount of patience and practice to figure out how to deal with these tricky situations with, rude clients and people making absurd requests asking for free stuff, which I've never gotten that one in particular, people asking for free stuff, but you have to deal with it with a certain level of professionalism, just like you're dealing with anyone else really, because sometimes, maybe those people don't realize that they're being rude or that they're asking a very absurd question, so you have to deal with it with, like how you'd like to be treated is how I always try to write out my emails or reply to people. I was like, how would I like to be replied to, whether or not I knew I was making a very absurd request? Or just try your best to be professional, be calm, and be very nice and just polite, because at the end of the day, you don't want that person to be, spreading bad reviews, quote unquote, of your business and misconstruing what actually happened. It's just not worth it. So try to deal with it with a certain level of professionalism and take many deep breaths. And then try to remind yourself of all the really lovely customers that you have and who have been incredible to you and your business, because that always brings a smile back to my face. Also, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I'm so sorry if you can hear like really annoying sounds from outside. There's like a construction site right next to my window and it is insanely frustrating, but again, I'm really sorry if you can hear any of that. So the next question is, how do you organize your working hours? Working freelance can get quite confusing because, you are working your own hours and, being your own boss. It can get quite confusing for your brain to figure out when's work time, when's relax time, when's, when you have to be strict with yourself. I've always really had a very strict working regime with myself, I guess, even when I was in school. So I've just kind of kept implementing that into my work life. But I always try to go with trying to wake up early in the mornings and getting to work immediately. If it so happens that day I don't really have much work, I'm not gonna sit there and try to make up work on the fly, until it's 5 o'clock. I'll try to do all my tasks for that day, and then if I have any time left over, obviously try and do some work, like artwork and stuff like that. In terms of scheduling your work schedule if you have different types of work that you do. So I do, animation work, illustration work, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. So if I know that I'm going to be very busy with one job for, I don't know how many weeks, I'll try not to take on any other big work for those weeks. So for the whole month of January and February, I'm not taking on any sort of animation or illustration commission work because I know that I'm going to be very busy with my shop and, relaunching it, etc. It's just about being, again, very organized and realizing when you're going to be busy and just basically not piling on a lot of work for yourself. So yeah, it's just about, making sure you're on top of your own work and knowing when you're going to be busy or the busiest and accommodating to that, basically. It can take a while to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and working with yourself and for yourself. How to know when to commit and take a risk on freelance. It can be definitely a very scary time realizing that you want to take the leap and go into freelance. And as I said before, it doesn't have to be a huge leap to begin with. Like, you can just slowly start working your way into working freelance while, you know, still working on a side job or a part-time job and still paying the bills, but it doesn't have to be something you just dive into the deep end with, especially, you know, if you're taking care of people or if you have, you know, bills to pay, which we all do. It can be just a thing that you gradually start working towards, and maybe once you see that things are, you know, rolling nicely and going nicely, you can switch it to full time, you know? It depends on your lifestyle and how your life works. It's going to be different for everyone. If you've like been saving up to go into freelance, maybe that's something that can a plan that you can work on, saving up for a few months or a few years to then comfortably take the leap into working freelance. But yeah, just know that it doesn't have to be a complete leap jump immediately out the gate. You don't have to put all your eggs in one basket, essentially. How do you track important things, i.e. inventory, expenses, etc. of your business? I feel like I already discussed the expenses part earlier in the video, but in terms of inventory and stuff like that, if you have an online shop, normally whatever platform you're using will have some sort of inventory counting system in it that's gonna help you out. But yeah, anything that you get new, you know, in stock, always count it immediately as you get it. Make a note of how much of that you've got, and then you can just put that into whatever system you're using. Every time you close your shop or reopen it, it's always good to count stock in those moments, just to double check that, you know, you haven't accidentally miscounted. Yeah, some people keep spreadsheets. I just like using, you know, my shopfront e-commerce tools. How do you handle a large amount of orders by yourself? This one hits, guys. I don't have like the hugest amount of orders. Like, I feel like obviously with every year they get a bit bigger, but again, I think it all has to do with organizing yourself and, you know, giving yourself time to do all the shop packaging and basically not over scheduling yourself, because basically I just give myself more and more time to work on shop stuff. It just means I'll have to take longer increments of time out of other jobs to accommodate for this job. Again, I just kind of go like, okay, so I've got a lot of orders this time around. If it keeps going like this, I'll probably have to like take some more time to do my shop stuff and remove some YouTube time, for example. It's just about balance, you know? Okay, so we're getting to the last few questions here, so I'm just going to start finishing off these drawings. As you can see, I'm in a very big portrait mood this time around. I've been drawing a lot of animals recently, so I wanted to get back to drawing portraits a little bit more in this video. So getting into the last question here, tell us your experience from how it started, the mistakes and lessons learned, all the tea. It's a really nice question to finish off with. I can definitely give you guys a bit of an overview of my experience of, you know, starting a small business. It's hard to think of the specifics on the spot, but it's obviously not been the easiest journey. I don't think it is for anyone. I just started when I was at uni. I just opened up my own little shop. At the time, it was with... God, where was it? It was on I think Ticktail or something like that, like a shop front that isn't around anymore, but I just sold like, you know, little prints and stickers, etc., stuff like that. It wasn't great, obviously, but I thought it was awesome at the time because it was like my first sort of experience selling my goodies to people who actually wanted to buy them, and I was like, oh my god, people want to buy my stuff. I just kind of tested out different printing companies along the years and saw which ones I liked the best. A lot of experimentation went into it, and, you know, just trying out different people before, you know, I started, you know, making my own products on the shop and stuff like that. Obviously before I lived in a student housing, so I obviously didn't have space or time really to make my own stuff. It didn't financially make sense for me to buy all this gear and all this machinery for something that I wasn't 100% sure was gonna work out. So the more I did it, the more I learned what worked, what didn't work, what can I make that's really good and is, you know, really personal to my shoppers, that isn't gonna take like all of my time up, because I obviously there's only 24 hours in a day. Yeah, just a lot of trial and error, experimenting, trying out different things, and basically every time I make a mistake, just be, you know, very transparent and be like, hey, I'm so sorry that, you know, this has happened, but I will get better at this particular thing, and I'll, you know, you always improve from every single mistake you make. Definitely most of the mistakes I made were, you know, shipping and sending out parcels related, but that's just because of working with the, you know, Royal Mail and just, you know, working out shipping prices, just all that kind of stuff. But yeah, overall, in my experience, because I'm doing what I love, it doesn't really feel like excruciating work. You know, it's not awful. It's fun. It's fun work, and I really enjoy doing what I do. It is, at the end of the day, it's very worth all the hard work and figuring out stuff by yourself and making mistakes, because at the end of the day, you learn from those and you get to still do awesome stuff for a living. So I'm just finishing up this last little sketch here. So yeah guys, that was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely had a lot of fun sketching out these lovely ladies. I hope that I made sense and I answered any of your pressing questions, and thank you again to Hostinger for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check the link down there in the description box. Thank you again for all of your lovely questions, and thank you for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.